everybody, welcome to the Dirt Show. This is Dirt Show Wednesday, where we're kicking it off with toy stuff. Again, everybody bailed, so doing the show all by myself because nobody else on this freaking network can ever show up to do a thing. So we're also going to start a new show tomorrow called Watch a Dirt Make Grilled Cheese because we're just running out of content ideas. We don't have enough stuff, so I think a cooking show would be nice. And then also there's going to be random shots of me trying to fix my car, which is a piece of crap and doesn't really work right. But you're just going to get these kind of long shots of just me huddled over, cursing, and banging at the engine block with a wrench or something. So, welcome. I mean, that's all we got. Whoa, co-host!
What are we talking about?
Well, there was nobody here, so I was just going to jump in and do the show all by myself.
Man, you're all talking about new shows and everything?
Yeah, well, because, I mean, it's not like anyone else around here comes up with any new shows that debut, you know, in the last week or so.
Or in the foreseen future. So, what's going on, Dirt?
So anyway, guys, yes, you know, just joking. This is It Figures. I'm Scotty Cash. This is Pixel Dan. And this is episode 294 of That New Toy Smell. And today we will be taking an in-depth look at McFarlane hockey figures. And then we'll be following that up with a rare look at a prototype Food Fighters figure that we don't actually have, but we have concept drawings that someone says is what it actually looked like.
And then after that, we're going to follow it up with a nice review of some vintage Topps Player Select baseball figures.
Awesome!
Stay right tuned.
Yes. Oh, and then we're going to talk about trading cards. We're going to go into sports cards. We're going to do a sports card show. That'll be Dirt Show Thursday. We'll be all about sports cards. Because, I mean, that's huge. What's better than a Don Russ 1992 baseball set? Huh?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, gosh.
Is that the set that has the Bo Jackson baseball-football crossover where he's got the football gear on and then his baseball bat over his shoulders?
Wasn't that 89?
I don't know.
No, we have to get the real Scotty Cash in here to answer that one. Well, what do you say we talk about some toy news?
Some toy news?
Let's talk about some toy news.
I think we can do that.
Do we have any toy news this week?
We do have some new toy news this week.
There's new toy news?
It's a new week, so there's got to be new toy news.
Wait, we already talked about that toy last week.
We did talk about this last week, but we did not talk about how the Star Trek line that is getting ready to start off
from Diamond Select Toys. DST. Not DDT, because that was Jake the Snake Roberts finishing move.
Is going to be the next generation of Trek collectibles.
Now, what does that mean? So it's all going to be like Geordi and Captain Picard and Riker?
Oh, whoa.
Is that what it means? It's all going to be
I'm sure
next
that's
generation?
probably what it means.
Hope there's a Wesley so I can burn it and stomp it and flush it down the toilet.
So we told you first about the news last week with the Star Trek Spock figure.
With the Horta.
With the...
the Horta.
Horta. And the cave piece. So, basically this news release just states, for years Star Trek fans have repeatedly opened hailing frequencies demanding the return of 7-inch Star Trek figures.
Demanded. Well, fan demanded.
Fan demanded. Like there hasn't been a plethora of 7-inch Star Trek figure lines in the past.
Just random Art Asylum and Mezco and whatever. But no. Oh, or even, wait, we have some Diamond Select over here, don't we?
We do.
Isn't that what this is? Aren't these Diamond Select toys? Yeah, these are Diamond Select toys.
Right there.
From Art Asylum. No, it's not like they've been making these at all.
Not at all. So, Diamond Select has heard their transmissions. This winter, Diamond Select Toys plans to release their first in a line of Star Trek Select figures depicting iconic characters from across the Star Trek universe in the 7-inch scale fans have asked for. Each figure will come in Diamond Select Toys' famous Select packaging and will include a diorama. Goodness. Diorama-style display base.
Just say Bananarama.
That is interchangeable to recreate scenes using the dioramas. And the first release in this line is, of course, the Mr. Spock.
So wait a minute. What's interchangeable about them? That just you can take a figure from one and put it on the other?
That's probably what it's going to amount to, but it kind of sounds like...
Or the Horta and Spock can both be moved to a different spot in the cave. So instead of staying on the left side, now they're on the right side. Right, it's interchangeable.
Exactly. They just mirror imaged. It's so easy. Depicting Mr. Spock as he appears in the classic episode Devil in the Dark, this figure includes a cave diorama with the Horta alien, which we discussed.
Okay.
There's really no news no new news as far as the release, except they have announced that Spock will be followed by James T. Kirk.
Ah, because James M. Kirk would make no sense. But we're doing James T. Kirk. That way you know. What was Kirk's brother? I can't remember what his brother's name. Was it George? No, that's his dad, right? His dad was George. His brother was William?
You're going outside of my realm of Trek.
It's been a long time since I've done any research into the original series, but yeah, something like that. Anyway.
So.
All right, well, but it doesn't say what scene with Kirk.
It does not say what scene.
Because there are actually a number of iconic scenes you could do with Kirk, and that's kind of a big stretch.
Yeah, it just says...
But Spock's going first. I mean, good for Spock.
Yeah, it just says the figures will be available early in 2013 and will be followed... Or Spock will be followed by James T. Kirk as well as numerous other important fan-requested characters from the Star Trek universe.
They better do Morn. Do you remember Morn? He was the big guy on Deep Space Nine. Looked like a big slug, always sitting at the bar drinking.
No,
He was named after Norm from Cheers.
Oh, was he named after Norm?
They named him Morn. M-O-R-N.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, and his job was just basically to sit at the bar and drink in Deep Space Nine. He's in, like, all but 2 episodes. Hey, the door's open. Hey, look! It's another guy to come do the show!
Oh, my God!
Come on over! Come in the show!
Oh, you guys
It's his Lord Killet!
Yeah, I knocked
Hey,
the doors down.
everybody.
What's up?
Wow, you smell terrible.
You smell
And
like
I'm
a
dirty.
mechanic.
And I'm dirty.
Why do you smell like a mechanic?
I'm almost done cleaning out my house. Last bit, so I'll be back soon. So don't freak out, everybody. I know you missed me, and I know, the quality of the show's probably dropped to like an all low. But I'll be back to make everybody happy.
I don't know what you're talking about. Last week was our highest rated episode of all time.
Yeah, it got at least 2 thumbs up on YouTube. 2 likes.
Well, when I'm back, everybody will be happy, and more importantly, your minds will be fed. Your minds will be
Yeah, I had
fed.
to think of a line there, didn't you?
No, I was,
More importantly, I got nothing to follow that up with.
I was letting it kind of permeate out there, so you can be like, I wonder what he's talking about. Oh
Permanate?
yeah,
Permanent? Pregnate?
no,
Impregnate?
permanent, like a marker, like a marker.
Oh.
All right, so get back to the news.
That's the
I got stuff to do. I
permanent
don't have time for you guys.
Permanate information that we're looking for.
Like a marker. So,
Oh, so now we lost Killing.
no more killing, but that's all right.
Fine.
Everybody, still smile. It's a good show. So I thought, kind of switch things up a little bit, since we don't really have that much going on in the world of Transformers over on our end, that I would kick off the new news with some Transformer
Wait,
news.
did you not hear the news? We have a new Transformers reviewer at the Pop Culture Network.
That's right, we do have a new Transformers
Corticon.
reviewer at the Pop Culture
Yep,
Network.
Corticon from Corticon.org has joined us. He and I work together on the Necessary Evil podcast. He's decided to start doing toy reviews for us. He's a big fan not only of Marvel Legends, but also of Transformers. So his first 2 reviews so far have been the Fall of Cybertron Shockwave and the Fall of Cybertron Autobot Jazz.
Woo.
So those are up on the site now. He's got another one coming. It'll be tomorrow, because this show is Wednesday. So he'll have another review on Thursday, and I think another one for Saturday or Sunday. So he's kicking some out there. So all you Transformers guys, we got a Transformers guy now. So
Yeah.
shut up.
Now you can get your on.
I'm sorry. The what? All right. Okay. So Transformers news.
Transformers news.
We got more Transformers news.
Yes. There is a new Masterpiece Collection piece.
Uh-huh.
And this Masterpiece Collection
Well, there's 2 of them.
You're right. There is 2 of them.
Because I covered them on the news desk. That's the only reason why I know.
There is Masterpiece Collection number 13 and Masterpiece Collection number 14, which are Soundwave.
In the classic cassette player look.
With Laserbeak.
Yes.
And Red Alert.
And Red Alert.
Now, I should have saved Red Alert for first. And then
because it's like, hey, it's Soundwave and Red Alert.
Yeah. So,
Here's the one everybody wants, and here's a race car with the fire department logo on it. Which, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because you got to get to the fires quickly,
Right.
I guess. But yeah, the Soundwave looks incredible. I mean,
Absolutely
it's G1. It looks so much better than the one they did at San Diego a couple of years ago.
I think Toys R Us had an exclusive one
Yeah, because
a couple years before that.
Yeah, and those always looked a little funky. They angled them weird, and the chest piece stuck out weird, and stuff like that. I mean, this looks
Spot
awesome.
on.
Yeah, this is great.
Really, really good.
$150 though, which is. I mean, people who buy Masterpiece Transformers, that's the price they're used to paying.
Right.
So that's not a big deal for them. But for me, I'm like, like if it was $60, $70, I'd be like, yeah, I'd probably end up swinging that.
Here's my toss-up with the Masterpiece Collection, if you will. For most of those pieces, especially like Soundwave and Megatron and those G1 characters that people really love and want to have from the vintage toy line, to get them in really nice, complete shape, or even with the box, you're going to be spending just as much, if not more, on these Masterpiece Collection figures. And the Masterpiece Collection figures are brand new and amazing.
They have tight joints, and they have all the accessories and all the stickers. And I mean, I understand that, because I have tried to get Soundwave a couple times off of eBay, and it's ridiculously expensive, especially in the box. Then you're looking at like $300, $400, So I mean, comparison to actually getting the G1, it's definitely a lot cheaper. And again, this is going to be a nice size figure. I mean, this isn't a tiny little thing. I mean, this is a pretty substantive.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the Soundwave that came in the little hard shell plastic case. That was that part of the titanium series?
Yeah, I was going to say it didn't transform. I think it was just him as the robot. So. I mean, this is going to be a nice size.
This will be a legit.
But $150. Oh, well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I may end up just buying one of those. I may end up just buying one of those bootlegs off of eBay. They're $20, and it comes with like a Laserbeak and a Ravage.
Does it smell out of the package like the proposed bootleg Ninja Turtles?
I think it smells like primer when you open it up. But it looks dead on, except everything is like that thin hollow plastic.
Right.
The like a Happy Meal toy type shell, and. The Decepticon symbol, it's like the same outline, but it's just like a purple thing with some wavy lines in the middle of it, But otherwise, it looks really good, and so I'm half tempted to just like maybe buy two of them. Like transform one and leave the other as the robot and just have them sitting side by side. And cost me $40, But, I might bite the bullet on that one.
Bill 50 is a little steep, but...
In comparison, it is a much more doable figure.
Right. All right, so
good talk. Good talk.
We'll move on a little bit.
That'll do it for the night. Thanks for watching. See? All right, we got more.
We do have some more.
More fan-demanded toys.
Oddly enough, kind of coming out of nowhere, Bandai has announced a new exclusive Lion-O figure. Haven't they gotten their dollars worth out of this Lion-O sculpt?
No. And the thing is, people will buy it. I mean, that's the thing.
People will absolutely buy this figure because, shiny plastic aside, it looks awesome.
Now, explain to everybody what this is.
We are talking about exclusively at the Falcons hangar. This is a foreign...
this is a Singapore...
Singapore toy
2012
game and comic convention.
Yeah. And we've got a lot of fans in Singapore. Actually, they've spoken up a number of times. There's a very strong Singaporean.
That's
Singaporean.
I think that's probably pretty good. Singaporean.
Singapore, Malaysia, and over in that area. I've talked to a lot of them online on Facebook and whatever. And this is exclusive for them. This is called the Mumra Lion-O, I believe is what it's called.
I've seen Red Lion-O and Mumra Lion-O.
The Lion-O Mumra version. There you go.
So, Thundercats, ho!
So basically, he just comes in red.
Exactly.
He's like the evil doppelganger of Lion-O that Mumra created. And so, it's a perfect bookend if you've got the... was it the San Diego? Or is it Toy Fair?
I think it was San Diego that did the blue one with the really bad...
With the glossy
paint wash on it and stuff.
Although this one, the skin looks better. The outfit still looks glossy.
They didn't do the crazy wash on this one, but this one does come with the sword hanger.
Right.
The Sword of Omens hanger that the San Diego exclusive did come with. Only this one is red
instead of blue.
So, honestly, I think this figure is pretty cool.
But they don't have a price.
Variant. They don't have a price. I would hate to say that it would be more than $25, considering the figures themselves retailed.
Well, how much was the other exclusive? Wasn't it like $45?
I honestly don't remember how much that one was.
Because I would bet it would be on par with that one. Whatever that one was, it's going to be the same.
I mean, you're essentially getting
But
the
in
exact
Singapore
same
dollars.
retail figure. You just get the Sword of Omens base along with it, and it's a different colorway. And it does come from Singapore. So I guess they could probably weasel an extra $20 or $30 out of that alone.
So this is September 1st and 2nd in Singapore. So, hey,
At the Falcons hangar. This is the actual
someone
press
needs
release.
to buy one and send it to us. I mean, we'll look at it. We'll
Oh,
do a
for
review.
sure. Yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Send it. You go ahead.
In collaboration with Bandai Asia, the Falcons hangar is proud to present the 8-inch Thundercats Lion-O Mummer version exclusive. Never before produced. In nearly 3 decades of Thundercats history, he will now be making his worldwide exclusive debut at Singapore Toy Game and Comic Convention 2012.
You know, if you are going to Singapore Toy Game and Comic Convention, take lots of pictures or video and send it to us.
Absolutely.
We'd love to put a
Absolutely.
a little show together about it. I can do a news desk on it or something like that. So just go ahead. If you're going to be there, take like 3,000 pictures, especially if there's any cosplay babes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Directly to me, dirt@popculturenetwork.com, and make sure you.
All right.
All right. I got about 4 gigs of space in my email box, so yeah.
Moving on with the news.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Yes, other stuff. You want to talk about?
Oh, on to NECA news.
Uh-huh.
So, I think we've actually discussed earlier in the past that the 7-inch Terminator Series 3 figures are getting ready to ship. This set actually includes the first ever Kyle Reese figure. He was, you know,
In the first Terminator movie,
the hero from
he was the
first.
human that knocked up what's her face, Sarah Connor. I was gonna say Linda Hamilton.
Beauty
but it's
from
like,
Beauty and the Beast?
But it's like that's her real name. The character name was somebody else.
So, this set also includes the T-800 Tanker Truck Pursuit figure from that scene, and then the T-1000 in the liquid nitrogen form, which I'm pretty sure wasn't that the San Diego exclusive last year?
Was it?
I thought so.
But isn't Tanker Truck Pursuit? Isn't that from the third one? Isn't that from Terminator 3?
It doesn't say.
Kind of. So I think you're getting a mix of all 3 movies.
Yeah, it kind
here.
of sounds like a mix.
So 6 3/4 to 7 inches tall. So there you go.
There we go.
They do look nice. The Kyle Reese.
Oh, actually, it says Tanker Truck Pursuit featuring interchangeable heads and battle damage look from the final scenes in the first Terminator movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
That's right, because they crash outside of the
Right, and
Cyberdyne
Tanker flips
planet,
over and
then they climb in, and that's where he gets crushed. All right. All right, we got that.
And then going on into other news that has already been touched on, there are more figures shipping. The Series 1 Friday the 13th figures from NECA are shipping now.
7-inch, more 7-inch?
Yeah, more 7-inch. And this basically just includes... it's very, very similar Jason Voorhees figures. One's bloody and one is not. And then they come with interchangeable heads that one is his head, like, not beat up and scarred up, and then the other one is.
Yeah,
So-
that head is really kind of... they've got the... What do they call them? Battle damage?
Yeah,
They call
more
them
or less.
battle damage, is the bloody one. But then the other one they call the definitive Jason Voorhees. And I'm going to have to pick one of those up because that face is, like, from the production photos... Like, it's never... That face, the way it's shown, is never actually seen in any of the movies.
Oh, cool.
And that's supposedly
I did not know that.
what he looks like underneath the mask before he gets mangled, before he gets his teeth knocked out, before he gets any burns or scars or, you know, whatever. That's kind of like the backwoods version of him, you know, when he's wandering around after his mom dies and he's just living off in the woods. That's what he looks like before he gets the hockey mask. So I'm going to have to buy one just for that reason alone.
Oh, absolutely. So also shipping soon is going to be the Predator Series 6 action figures. And I think we talked about these last week or the week before. This is the set that includes the Lost Tribe, Warrior Predator, Scout Predator, and the Lost Predator. And finally, shipping is the Series 2 Gremlins Mogwais.
How long ago did Series 1 come out?
About a year. I'm
was
pretty
gonna say,
sure.
wasn't it
It's
last
been
summer?
a long time, and these figures were actually debuted at New York, and
The Toy Fair?
yeah,
In
and-
Toy Fair 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we're just now getting these figures shipped. So this set includes Mogwai Daffy, Mogwai Mohawk, and Rambo Gizmo. Which
Rambo Gizmo.
Rambo Gizmo was always one of my favorite.
I don't think they
things
call
as a
him
kid.
Rambo Gizmo, though.
Well, they better call him Rambo.
No, they
Gizmo.
call him Combat
So-
Gizmo.
I'm going to
'cause
call him Rambo. Gizmo.
Apparently, Rambo is some sort of like trademarked, copyrighted thing.
No, are you?
So yeah, so it's like
he cares
apparently.
about Rambo.
Well, Stallone does. And well, who's doing the Rambo figure? Who's doing that like $100 Rambo and like the?
Well, if it's $100, it's got to be Sideshow or Hot Toys.
I think maybe it is Sideshow doing that new Rambo figure.
It'd be something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty
But
pricey.
I remember being in like first and second grade, and stealing the paper clips from my teacher's desk and
Right.
like unfolding them and putting the rubber bands on them to make the little gizmo bow and arrow. And
How old are you?
how old am I?
Second grade? Really?
30?
Man,
31?
like I was in at least middle school when that movie came out.
So you're old. Deal with
Yeah.
it. All right.
I saw that in the theater. I saw it in the theater with the Hulk Hogan thing in the middle.
I remember.
got to get out of that booth. Whatever it is. And then they made a different version for the home video, where it's the home videotape. It's like
Right.
shooting out of the VCR.
I remember
I was
going.
mad. I was like, that's supposed to be the Hulkster.
I remember going to like my local town carnival whenever I was like, knee high to a grasshopper, and going through a Gremlins themed haunted house.
Ooh.
And it's one of few memories I actually have from going to an amusement park or whatever, but it was awesome. Like I just remember like riding on top of my dad's shoulders as we're going through the whole thing, and like the lights come on, like you're basically walking through an entire dark fun house, and then like the lights would just randomly come on, and like gremlins would jump out at you and stuff. It was, I mean, I'm sure if I
Do they
walked
have,
through
like-
it now, it'd be super cheesy.
Do they have like the juicer with the two little gremlin legs sticking out and all the
I
green
think so.
stuff flying
I think
and
so.
stuff?
I just remember like that really iconic picture of Stripe with the popcorn and everything. Like I'm sure it's been used for a lot of different packaging and different stuff like that to advertise Gremlins. But I just remember that image just being plastered all over the front, and just little clips and stuff here and
You
there.
know,
of
and there's
actually
one
walking through it.
toy from Gremlins I really wish they'd make. It would be a life-size Phoebe Cates.
I think they do make it. I think somebody did make one of those. I
Well-
think maybe two people made.
Well, they
one
make
of those.
something similar that you can order and you inflate it, but I mean it doesn't really look like Phoebe Cates. That's what I'm holding out for is the Phoebe Cates one.
So Phoebe Cates, Gremlins, Phoebe Cates, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, Fast Times is okay, but that one's like so overdone. It's like there was something.
Yeah, it's a little too easy to
She
like
was-
Phoebe Cates in that movie.
She was broken in Gremlins. There was a real vulnerability there that.
She'll never love Christmas again.
Or Abraham Lincoln's birthday, for that matter. We've also established. And I'm pretty sure Washington's birthday isn't much better. Or New Year's, 4th of July, Labor Day. I'm sure there's a St. Patrick's Day, April Fool's Day, Halloween. Halloween is probably like the one holiday that everything was fine. Like, oh, it's Halloween, don't say anything around her. And she's like, no, what? Halloween's great. I love Halloween. Kate, didn't your mom, get her head cut off on Halloween? Or something? No, we love Halloween. Why would you say something so terrible about my family? All right, what's up?
All right, our last bit of news for tonight's episode is actually just touching base on the coming releases from MattyCollector.com. I know you knew that you couldn't get away from an episode without a little bit of Matty news. so I
Even
saved
if
it
there's
for the
not Matty news, we'll just make some.
end. Exactly.
So you'll always get some Masters of the Universe in there. Because I know there's people that'll just be like, when they talk about Masters of the Universe, I'm not watching. So here you go.
So,
On
this-
the 17th,
the
right?
17th, the monthly September sale,
Mm-hmm.
we will receive Masters of the Universe Classics Mecha Neck.
Oh,
Ooh, it's about time.
he's a delayed.
Dragon Blaster Skeletor.
You know, which again, now this is the quarterly figure, so he's more expensive, right?
I don't think so. I think he's going
Or is he the one that's the
he's,
regular price?
He's included with sub, so he should be the regular price.
So, do you want to make a Disco Dragon Blaster Skeletor for Beyond the Box?
For Beyond the Box? Absolutely.
I think I may have to order one of those just for that reason. Because there's something about Skeletor in that bikini top that's just, you know, it's just screaming out disco. Like, that one's more disco than the Disco Skeletor, if you know what I mean.
With a giant disco dragon on its back that should blow glitter,
Wait,
doesn't blow glitter.
Could you make the dragon like the disco ball, since he's got the scales and everything? Could he be silver with like a black ink wash to make him look like a disco
I
ball?
think we could do that.
I think we got a winning thing right
that's
there.
how custom figures come to light. Collaboration. Love it.
Wow. You'll have to use this clip in Beyond the Box to like set up that episode.
That can be done.
That's what we're gonna have to do. All right.
All right. So
All right.
we're
What else we
also
got?
receiving the Masters Universe Classic Snake Men 2-pack, which I think some people are kind of wishy-washy.
Oh, this is the one that's more expensive.
Yes,
this
this
one
is
they
the
call
one
the
that's more
Beast
expensive.
release. And it is a 2-pack.
It's an army builder. I think this is one of those things that kind of splits the Classics fandom down the line, because there are some that want the army builders, some that don't, some that want secondary, not in the vintage line characters, some that don't. So
Well, and you know, I mean, there are guys like probably Novelty Nostalgia will probably buy like 5 of these 2-packs just so he can
5?
probably so he can just have like this whole army of dudes.
Maybe he'll send out gifts.
No, I don't think so.
If you're gonna buy that many figures, you should gift them.
I say 5, meaning 2. But
There's also the DC Universe Black Mask figure,
that's cool.
the JLU 3-pack featuring Vandal Savage Batman and Future
No.
Superman.
No, it's Vandal Savage, Batman,
Oh,
Future Superman.
okay.
Not Vandal Savage Batman.
There is a line there.
Yeah, it's 2 different people. Vandal Savage is an immortal who lives forever, and Batman is not. Batman's not immortal.
Given the fact that Bruce Wayne has died and come back to life a few times, I think maybe there is some immortality there.
But Future Superman, that's one that a lot of people have been waiting for, too. That's a super awesome character design on that one.
Now, I don't know if I've actually seen pictures of this 3-pack. Do you know, are these going to follow the JLU scale? Or
Yeah, these are
gonna be-
JLU
Okay.
figures. These are, when you...
Little touchback on the JLU.
When you order these from Matty Collector, on the box, like on the back, there's a little like word balloon bubble burst thing that says like "Final Figures of Justice League Unlimited Line"
Oh,
or something
really?
like that. Because there's like 3 or 4 of these 3-packs, and it's like these are going to end the JLU line. So yeah, these are exactly in scale and following those other ones that have been coming out for like what 6 years now,
Right.
Something like that. They've been out forever. Who are you texting? Huh?
I gotta text my woman.
Why? You need a ride home?
Yeah.
Okay. You get to listen to Bee Gees then in my van. Because I got the Bee Gees, it's all number 1s, I think.
Number 1s.
Yeah.
Woo!
I was listening to, I started a joke on the way over. They got the whole world crying. All
Rest
right.
in peace, Robin Gibb.
The
WWE Legends, Tully Blanchard.
4 Horsemen, gotta represent.
And they will also be reissuing the remaining stock of Zodak, which, incidentally enough, I believe is still one of the only Masters of the Universe Classics figures to not get a reissue.
Because they have stock remaining.
Nobody wanted him.
But this is Zodak with the K, not Zodak with the C. So
Right,
this is
this
the
is Zodak,
2000X
not Zoblack.
version. This is the new, right?
Oh, this is Zoblack, not Zodak.
Right.
Okay.
This is the 2000X version. So
This
a lot
is
of people are like,
2000X.
at least it's not New Adventures.
And the weapons rack.
And the
is
weapons
coming
rack.
back. All right. So that will pretty much do it for news this week. But
Oh wait, there's one thing I want to point out though. They also mentioned that they're going to have their essentials. Apparently, the Ghostbusters PKE meter is now an essential, which means they're just going to have it on sale like all the time.
which means they made way too many of those.
Bubble Power She-Ra is now an essential.
She's been part of the Essentials since the San Diego sale.
Really?
Her and I thought there were a couple other ones, like King Hiss is part of the essential
Yeah,
sale
King
now.
Hiss.
The Wind Raider is an essential.
Yeah, like I understand He-Man, Hordak, Skeletor, She-Ra, Panther. No Battle Cat?
Battle Cat was part of it for the longest time. I wonder if they
Oh
temporarily...
no, there he is. There he is. He's up there. So he's up there still. So
And
yeah,
I can understand King Hiss as, being, like, if you've got the 3 villains or whatever from all the franchise. But,
he's a B level. He's a honky tonk man. He's no top level villain. And then the Attorney and Palace Guards are still. I mean, they're still the army builder, which makes me think that the Snake Man 2-pack is going to become an essential.
Right. And
they'll just always be on there. So if you don't have the money to buy all 5 of them now, you can just buy 2, and you'll probably be able to pick up the rest of them later.
there you go.
Why are the Retro Action DC heroes still available? Who buys the Retro Action DC heroes?
That's probably why they're still available. They're trying to get
That was
rid
a
of
mistake. That was a mistake.
them. At least Skeletor versus Molar isn't on.
Oh yeah, that finally left. So that's good. All right, well, that's going to do it for news, right?
That's going to do it for news
All
this
right,
week.
so let's do some fan corner.
Let's do some fan corner.
I started a fan corner.
All right, guys, welcome to fan corner.
We got a couple of questions that you didn't lock the thread last week because I guess you're not a moderator. So after we were done with the show, I was at home and I was editing, and I just went to check the message board, and sure enough, we had more replies. So I copied the replies over to the new thread, which threw Clone Yoshi off his game. Because he came in to start the thread, there was already a thread there, and he was like, "What?" So you can start with Clone Yoshi,
I think
and
I
then
will.
we'll go back up
Just-
to the other ones,
Just
just to keep it consistent.
to keep it consistent, exactly. So our first question comes from Clone Yoshi, and he asks, "Looks like you guys beat me to the punch."
Sure did, sleeper.
But anyway, his question is, what do you like better, the Marvel Mini-Mates or the DC Mini-Mates? Personally, my favorite superhero is Nightwing, and since the DC ones are older, the likeness can vary, and they barely scratch the surface with obscure characters, where the Marvel ones had time to release 400 Spider-Men and Wolverines, and the majority of obscure characters.
I prefer the DC characters most of the time over the Marvel characters. But yeah, they just don't exist in the quantities that the Marvel ones. Marvel and Diamond Select have some sort of...
They're in bed together.
Yeah, there's something going on with those two. Some sort of relationship that kind of helped them out on that.
Relationship.
But yeah, I mean, I like the DC Mini-Mates. I mean, I think they're all cool.
Yep.
But I like the Marvel ones too. I mean, I'm not, Mini-Mates are just kind of Mini-Mates as far as I'm concerned, whether they're Marvel or DC or Terminator or Back to the Future or Ghostbusters or, Silence of the Lambs. You see the Silence of the Lambs?
I haven't seen the Silence of the Lambs
there's like
ones.
there's like a 4-pack of Silence of the Lambs Mini-Mates and stuff. So yeah, it's just Mini-Mates are Mini-Mates as far as I'm concerned.
People love their Mini-Mates.
However, Battle Beasts are not Mini-Mates. I'm just throwing it out there, throwing down the gauntlet. If Battle Beasts are not Battle Beasts, then Battle Beasts are not Mini-Mates. All right? They're their own thing. You want to tell your own story about beasts who do battle, knock yourself out. I ain't buying them. I might buy one. But... All right.
All right. Well, our next question comes from the Freak of Steel. And he says, "Hello, my friends. I have a question.
Okay.
Which line do you think creates the best DC action figures? DC Direct or Mattel? I know DC Universe Classics have more articulation, but DC Direct has some amazing looking figures. Also with what I feel are better sculpts."
Here's the thing. The DC Direct are pretty much all complete originals.
Right. They're not trying to reuse body parts. And
Right, they're not
pieces
making a male
to cut
figure
costs.
buck and then just customizing it for each figure like Mattel does. Now, like you say, Mattel does have a lot of articulation. You get the 30 points of articulation and everything.
And I honestly feel that Mattel has the better articulation cuts over the DC Direct
Well, the
stuff.
DC Direct usually just has like 6 or 7 points of articulation.
Right.
I mean, they're basically articulated enough that you can get them to balance on the shelf so they're not falling over, but beyond that, they're not really made for moving around. They're just made for displaying.
I could just really do without the banana hammock thigh cut.
And it's what people look for.
Like,
That's what they want. But
I don't want my DC Direct figures to look like a naked Ken doll.
to be honest, like there's the new Mattel. What is that line? Unlimited. Grab that Batman.
I've got the Batman.
Like
It's your Batman.
Like, okay, so DC Direct did a new 52 Batman, which I have sitting at home, and then you've got the new, this is Classic All-Stars, I guess Unlimited is what they're calling it next year.
This one is better.
Well,
in my opinion, anyway, that one is better.
The one from DC Direct looks more, I don't even know what's the way to describe it. It looks more like a man in a bat suit, whereas this looks more like a superhero.
Right.
This is much more muscular. This is much beefier. This is much more of that kind of over-the-top superhero look, whereas the one from DC Direct is like a leaner, looks more like an athlete in a bat suit type costume. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for.
Now, I will say that whenever it comes to the Arkham Asylum and the Arkham City toy lines, DC Direct has got Mattel beat. I don't know what the disconnect is with those lines, but anything that I have seen come from the video game by Mattel has been really bulky and
kind of overpowered.
Yeah, like it just doesn't look good. I don't know what it is about it, but like the DC Direct stuff, you know, I mean, of course, Detective Mode Batman's probably not the best.
It's funny, but that suit does look a lot like the new 52 suit.
Yeah, it does.
In a lot of ways. Although that one looks even bigger and beefier than the DC Direct new 52 Batman. So, anyway, it goes back and forth. I mean, it really does. There are times when I look at what Mattel does with a lot of their superhero figures, and it's too articulated. Like they put so much articulation in it that the legs start to look a little weird, you know, or the arm. You can't like move the arm without like twisting the bicep in some kind of weird way.
Right.
You
That's
know?
how I feel about the new classic Ninja Turtle figures. There's just way too much articulation on those things.
But you know, but Mattel really does have them beat with the ability to pose them and do different things.
Oh, for sure.
The only thing though is that this type of articulation would really mean a lot more to me if you had a playset or a vehicle in which to put the person. Because the fact that you can move him around is like, well, that's great, but that just means he can stand on your shelf with his arms like this. You know, I want a play set where I can like have him like punching somebody or like sitting in the vehicle, you know, and instead you just get the figures. So.
I will say it really bums me out that a lot of the Superman figures that have come out, you know, with as posable as they are, you can't like tilt his head.
Oh, to do flying?
Like so far back to where he's flying. You know, you can pose him like in an upright floating position where he's like kind of looking down at something, but to actually get a
but there's no good way to do that though. I mean, you'd have to cut out like the back of the head so that it'd be able to pivot up.
I use fish twine, like fishing line, clear stuff to hang my figures up from the ceiling and whatnot.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is to bend the head back. Like you have to cut out part of the back of the head for it to move because the neck gets in the way.
That is true. I see what you're saying.
You know. You need like a...
Bye, Batman.
You need like a fleshy flap of skin to put on the back that can bend. Like a
flap of skin.
Fleshy rubber or something on there.
You need a fleshy flap of skin for your Superman head.
That's what she said. It's a very awkward night.
Our next question comes from Jackal1972.
Hey, you're probably older than me then.
Maybe.
Yay, 72. Unless you just like that year randomly. Good year for wine. Right here. The Napa Valley region. Right.
He says, hey guys.
Hi!
Hey, Father, I wanted to know if you had any stories or advice about keeping a collection intact while raising a child.
Yes. You put the toys in the basement, and you forbid the children from going down there.
Or you have a toy room that is separate from the rest of your house with a lockable door.
Well, that's kind of what the basement is. It's a separate room. We got a door on that we tell the kids and the cats that they're not allowed to go down in there.
Sometimes toy collectors and dads and husbands don't want to be pigeonholed to the basement, though. So fight for that room in your house.
No, I fight for the basement because then I can just like go into the basement, shut the door, done. The rest of the world is gone. But yeah, I mean, you just keep it in a separate room.
I mean, aside from that, the only other thing I could really suggest is introduce your children to toys and the world of collecting early on.
Well, here's another key thing. Go to like Target or Walmart, places like that, and look through the clearance aisles. and grab stuff that's on clearance, even if you don't really care about it, because you'll find like Ben 10 figures, you'll find, you know, random Hot Wheels, whatever, stuff that's on clearance you're paying like less than $1 for, and you throw them in a box in the closet, and then when your kids see your toys, and they're like, wow, you have so many toys, and you're like, yeah, here's one for you, and then they get all excited that they get their own brand new toy for no reason. It's not their birthday, it's not Christmas, they didn't get named on the report card, you know, just woo, they get all excited, and then you're Father of the Year.
There you go.
That's how you do it.
Some
Doesn't
fatherly
work on your
advice
wife,
from the
though.
fatherly dirt.
When your wife goes, you have too many toys, you don't go, and here's one for you. It doesn't work with her that same way.
I don't know about that.
Kind of
though.
backfires.
That might be kind of a wishy-washy area too, because
Not with my wife.
I'm like, here, sweetheart, here's a My Little Pony, and she's like, yay.
Yeah, not with my wife. You're like, here, honey, it's a She-Ra. Great, can it scrub the toilets? Because you can't. And then you start that whole argument. Then you go out to the garage to drink. And then your whole night's shot. Not getting any editing done tonight.
None.
Because there's no outlets in the garage. Just a dark room with an angry man drinking beer.
You mean you don't even have a single solitary light bulb?
Well,
You
yeah,
don't run an extension cord?
I could, but that would require forethought. And an extension cord. All right, what's that? Who's next?
Our next
Who's
question
next?
comes from... Is that GB Zaku or G Bzku? I have no idea. Bzku. Let us know how to pronounce your name. He says, hello, my good sirs. I
Hello.
have a couple of questions if you don't mind sharing your thoughts.
We do,
Absolutely
but we'll do
not.
it anyway.
First, did you happen to notice the knockoff NECA TMNT toys on eBay? Yes,
Yes.
these are knockoffs. Another message board is less than happy with these. I did not until you posted this, and then they were brought to my knowledge.
I know who that is. That's Sean from Facebook. He sent me the link to the.
Send me the link?
To the
I want these.
Terrordrome?
I think, yeah, Terradrome.
Terrordrome.com, I think.
Technodrome.
Technodrome. Terrordrome is the Cobra playset, right? And the Technodrome is the Turtles playset.
Yes.
So anyway, but yeah, you know, I talked about that on the news desk, and I think we discussed it a little bit on it.
You and I discussed it.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it on It Figures, but you and I did discuss it.
Oh, okay. We discussed it separately. All right.
So I kind of
I remember having a conversation. Yeah, I mean, they're cheap enough. They apparently smell a little funky, and if you're not careful, some of the paint will rub off. But, you know, otherwise, I mean...
It's nothing a little Krylon clear coat can't fix.
So...
Coming soon to Beyond the Box.
I would
clear
be...
coating your TMNT
I
bootlegs.
would be upset if I thought I was buying... you know, authentic ones, and they were bootlegs. I mean,
Right.
that would make me upset. Especially, a lot of people who were upset had 2 of the figures or 3 of the figures, and they just wanted to finish the set.
Right.
So they get the ones that finish the set,
And
and they don't fit because the colors are all wrong, and the shape is a little different, and, you know, whatever. But if you don't have any of them, or you don't really care that much, then, nah, you know, why not? Spend $20.
Like, for what I have seen in the world of bootleg knockoffs,
These are good.
aside from, like, Masters of the Universe Leo and Topps toys, these are good knockoffs. Like...
Apparently the smell is the main thing that gives it away, though, because it smells like turpentine and gasoline.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's pretty
That
bad.
happens.
But, I mean, hey, you can put them in a paper bag and get high. So, I mean, that's a bonus right there. Something extra to look forward to.
What just happened? He follows up with a second question.
Uh-huh.
And it says, with Johnny Depp signing his contract for Pirates 5 and the failure of the Pirates 4 toy line, do you think we'll actually see new toys? I think the reason the Pirates 4 toy line failed was because NECA did not produce them. NECA has produced, like, they did the figures for all of the previous Pirates of the Caribbean toy lines. I mean, there were the Jax... I think Jax did some.
Who did those big play sets of, like, the end of the world?
You know, there was a
thing?
more, like...
Do we still have those?
Child-oriented... Yeah, they're right there. There was a more child-oriented Pirates toy line.
This is from Zizzle.
But NECA did the really beautiful ones.
This is Zizzle.com in Bannockburn, Illinois. So actually, hey, maybe we could track them down. But yeah, they did At World's End toys, which, I mean, granted, they're not terrible looking.
But then you get the NECA.
Well, yeah, these are 4-inch figures versus 6.5, 7-inch figures.
I mean, these are it in the world of adult Pirates of the Caribbean figures.
Yeah.
You know, if NECA could get the license to do Series 5 or Episode 5 or Movie 5, whatever you want to call it, I'd be interested.
You know, I watched the first movie and I didn't really care for it, and I've never watched any of the sequels.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched that first one and I was like, this is not good.
You know, I actually watched the second one first. Things with a lot of hype and like social popularity and whatever, I kind of turned me off a little bit. So
You're one of those guys.
like, I think it was probably a good 5 years after the first one had come out before I even seen it. But that second movie with the Kraken and that whole mythology and whatever was just so awesome, and it looked so great that it really sucked me in.
You know, and also, I think for me, a big thing too is I don't really care about pirates.
Oh, well,
You know, I mean, it's like,
arg.
ninjas are cool. Let's start that fight. No, but it's just
Well,
like...
they had ninjas in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. They had ninjas in RoboCop 3. Didn't save that movie. But, you know, I mean, outside...
Frank Miller couldn't save that movie. What are you talking about?
No, he was 2. He was 2. This is 3 was something terrible worse. But, you know, I mean, the Goonies had the pirate in it, and that was all right. But I mean, they weren't on a pirate ship except for at the end of the movie. I mean, movies that are actually like about, like, I don't know. I watched that movie, and watching Johnny Depp in that movie just kind of made me angry. I just kind of like it was too much. Like, there's this thing with Johnny Depp. I don't think he can do real characters anymore. Like, everybody is some sort of drunk or addict or mentally depressed or deranged or over the top happy, or, you know, it's the Mad Hatter, it's Willy Wonka, it's the drunk pirate. Like, when I watch him in, like, was it Public Enemies he did a couple of years ago, where he's the gangster, and he was terrible in that. Terrible. Because he can't do regular people doing regular stuff anymore.
Well, he's a character actor for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not a guy,
actor.
like, he's going to be the king of, like, those B-movie characters when he gets older.
Right.
Like, by the time he's 70, he'll be remembered for those.
Have you seen the 21 Jump Street movie?
Yes.
I know it's just a cameo role, but it was very funny.
You know,
I thought it was awesome.
For me, what made that scene work was the fact that Peter DeLuise was in the scene.
Right.
If it was just Johnny Depp, I would have been like, this is stupid that they put him in the movie. But with Peter DeLuise there, I was like, awesome!
Yeah.
I love that.
As soon as both of them...
And then Holly Robinson working the impound lot.
Yes.
That was cool.
That was totally awesome. So, I'm glad I wasn't the only person
But who was the guy? Was it John Gwynn? Dustin Gwynn? The other guy who was on 21 Jump Street? He gets no spot in the movie. and Richard Grieco? Hello?
Yeah.
He was a breakout star.
Where's the Grieco?
Have you seen If Looks Could Kill? I mean, the guy made one movie, he made enough money that all he had to do was make an appearance in Night at the Roxbury, and he was done.
I was going to say, what was that horrible 90s movie where they totally made fun of him?
And he gets in the car wreck, so he shows up at the wedding. They're like, what's Richard Grieco doing at your wedding? He's like, I just didn't want a lawsuit.
Richard Grieco, what up?
Richard Grieco's awesome. I'd take 5 Richard Griecos over 1 Johnny Depp. They need to make
that's
They
conflicting.
need to make a Richard Grieco ninja movie to attack the Johnny Depp Pirates movie. And instead of being made by Disney, it's got to be made by, like, DreamWorks.
Okay.
So there you go, just to round it out completely.
All right, our next question comes from Albatraz.
Or Albatraze?
What's up, Albatraz?
Or Albatraze? We go back and forth on it. I can never remember, because he spelled it out one time. I think is it like Albatraz? Albatraz?
If it's
Or
pronounced
Albatraz.
Albatraz, there needs to be a Y or something in there.
Or a little, like, thing on it.
Congratulations, your name is now Albatraz, officially.
All right, Alcatraz.
Hey guys, what toy do you think should have never been made because of how awful it was? Boy.
Do you remember they made Jurassic Park figures?
I do remember they made Jurassic Park figures.
They weren't good.
I also remember 3 3/4 inch Aliens figures that were not very
From
good
Kidder?
either.
Yeah, those. You know, the aliens were okay. It was the humans that were a big problem.
I'll tell you a toy that I wish was never made. the very first NECA Beetlejuice figure. All of the other figures and characters in that line were awesome. Beetlejuice sucks.
Was that the one that came with the gravestone?
No, that was the real big, heavy Beetlejuice. Like, he looked nothing like Michael Keaton. He had the spikes coming out of him, and the big, long trench coat.
Oh, okay.
Like, the one that we had on the shelf here for probably
2
half
years.
a year that was mine.
So someone in Russia or Bolivia finally bought it, and we shipped it overseas.
Right. So, I really wish that figure had not been made.
I mean, I don't... going with specific figures is really kind of tough to pull, like, one figure out of a line. But, I mean, you can look at toy lines. Just like, I'm going to go back to Monster High because that's a big one right now. I hate that toy line. I hate that you make slutty little monster girls and you sell it to 7-year-old girls.
Right.
You know, I mean, that is... that should be like a mail order only for the adult men who want to collect that, because little girls should not be buying little mini hoop skirts, high school impregnated Monster High figures.
Exactly. Filmation and Hanna-Barbera both had very, very similar concepts in the 70s and 80s. It was called the Groovy Ghoulies and Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, I'm pretty sure. And guess what? None of those characters were slutty. Alright? You can do monster-themed, like, targeted at teen audience without making them slutty.
Yeah. There's just something about those that just makes me... Like, my daughter will not have those. Maybe when she's, like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, she's got her own money, fine. But I'm not buying those for her. You know, I'll buy her veterinarian Barbie.
Yeah.
You know, like, learn a skill. You know what I mean? Just don't be a whore.
I also kind of hate Bratz.
Well, yeah, and Bratz kind of falls into that same category, I guess. Slutty high school girl figures. I'll just leave it at that. It can be Monster High, it can be Bratz. It can be that they did an offshoot of Barbies, I think, that were all kind of, slutty like that. The Britney Spears figures. Like, you don't need slutty girl figures. And if you do, make a mail orders, because it's dudes buying them for creepy reasons.
Right.
And, as far as little girls, get them, like, scientist Barbie, math tutor Kelly, whoever. Give them someone to look up to instead of just, like, girls who are you got this figure because she's pretty. You know what I mean?
Our children grow up fast enough without the toy companies influencing that garbage.
Yeah,
So.
there's
Kind of got a little deep on the
and
figures front.
10 years ago, when I didn't have kids, I probably wouldn't have cared. But now that I do, I'm just like, stay out of this.
All right.
Also, I think the razor blade tongue dispenser toy line was a bad idea. That was just like, who even thought that through? Should have never been made.
The switchblade comb should have probably been
Actually,
rethought too.
I like the switchblade comb. I had one of those, and it was always cool to pull it out and just be like,
Yeah, but now I don't have any hair, so they all suck.
yeah. But look, those things are only like this tall, and I've got just enough hair to make it worthwhile, or the beard.
Combing my baldness.
Do my just for men beard treatment brush in. I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
Our next question comes from Nick, the toy columnist.
Yay!
Yay, Nick! And he says, "Hey guys, was there ever a toy line that you expected to be really great, but then when you actually saw it in stores, turned out to be horrible? Thundercats." That, like, as soon as I read
Horrible. Horrible. I mean, disappointing I can see, but horrible.
Okay, I guess I'll probably have to side with you on the horrible front because I actually bought and own all of them. So they couldn't have been that horrible. But,
well, okay, like, very recent toy line is the Green Lantern 4-inch figures and the Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, the Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Rises,
yes.
yeah. Batman Returns, Dark Knight Rises.
Those figures are pretty terrible.
Those figures, like, I had high hopes, especially when they first announced the Green Lantern ones, and they had the preview figure you ordered from ToysRUs.com, and I was so super excited for that thing. And then when I finally got it and saw it had no elbows, it had no knees, it was just like the most basic, cheap, Just terrible thing. Well, kids like bright colors more than they care about articulation. Yeah, that's crap. That's a lie. You just can't figure out how to do it. And because Hasbro's doing it with Marvel Universe, and you're telling me you can't do it with those, you're just wrong. So those have been a major, just like everything they're doing in their 3 3/4 inch, or if you want to call it 4-inch line, however you want to call it, everything that everything that Mattel is doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And those are huge disappointment. And every time they do it, I'm like, oh, awesome! They got to do. Oh,
that's part of the reason why anytime discussion turns towards like Masters of the Universe Classics going to that scale or DC Universe Classics going to that scale,
it's Mattel.
No, don't do it because Mattel cannot do that scale and do it properly. It's awful.
I would be fine with that level of articulation if Masters of the Universe figures were made like the vintage ones.
Yes.
I mean, if it was the Remco, type body, just the big thing with the black rubber band in the middle so they can do the power punch, then I'm all for it. Then
Absolutely.
Yes, Mattel, please do that. And if they would do that, smaller, a 4-inch line that's in that same, sculpt, whatever, but just even tinier because they want to save money, because that's the whole thing with getting into retail. They got to make them smaller. Then great, I have no problem with that. But the way they're doing it with these figures, where they look like beautiful sculpts, like the Dark Knight Rises, figures look nice. They just don't move, and that's a real problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go.
All right, our next and last question.
Wait. Is it last?
It is last.
Let's hit F5. Double check. See if there are any updates, because sometimes people post late. Okay, that's the last one. I gotta lock it after this, so we don't have the same problem.
So our next and last question comes from Mathan, and he asks, "What do you think?"
That's Matt Han.
That's Matt Han.
Matt Han, because there's 2 T's, right? So it can't be Mathan. It has to be Matt Han.
I think Nathan could be spelled.
Matt Han.
Okay, Matt Han. He says, "What do you think of Transformers Prime Weaponizer Optimus Prime?"
I'm not a fan. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have seen it.
First of all, you know me. I don't like the long cab Optimus Prime.
Right.
But that's how he is now. Whatever, you gotta get over it. Blah 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 blah. Unless it's Fall of Cybertron or whatever. Fine. Looking past that, though, I don't like the look of him as the robot either. I don't like the way they do the panels of glass as the chest plates. That looks so funky to me.
Right.
It looks like John Lennon glasses glued to his chest, like weird pasties or something. And the idea of just the fact that you put a big gun on him.
I have to be honest, I've not really been very much impressed with any Transformers toys in probably the last 10 or 15 years, outside of like Masterpiece collection pieces and Gen 1 reissues and stuff like that. I don't like the cheap bare plastic look that Transformers toys have now.
I like the new Fall of Cybertron, and they did the other ones, the War on Cybertron and whatever. Right. I liked most of those, but the alt modes on most of those were the Cybertronian cars or the Cybertronian jets, so you don't have it going to like that, the look of a regular car or airplane or whatever. And of course they got away from all the guns and everything, so you can't have the guns and do the weapons anymore, which is a shame because those are awesome too. But just overall, like I don't like. One of the things I liked about the classic Transformers is when they transformed, they were big, bulky-looking dudes. I mean, they looked like WWE wrestlers that were robots.
It really seems like since that first Transformers movie came out, all toys that have come out in the Transformers line since, robot mode looks to be inspired by the Transformers movie.
Right, they're very lanky,
franchise,
thin. They look like skinny basketball players.
Right, I like the bulky, blocky, vintage look. That's just the way it is,
So yeah, I mean, if you like it, great. I mean, as far as the gimmick of the gun thing, whatever, to me, it's not that special. If you're enthusiastic for it, fine. But as far as the Fall of Cybertron line, I probably will actually pick up a couple of those figures. Cool. Especially the Shockwave figure. Quartercon showed in his review, which you can check out at popculturenetwork.com. In his review, he showed that it transforms into a spaceship. But the classic Shockwave was a gun.
Right.
And he shows that you can actually like take the back of it and transform it and fold it a different way, and it makes like a gun handle.
Oh, cool.
So you actually can transform it, and it looks like a little laser gun. So I was totally excited when I saw that.
A little Easter egg in the transforming process.
And I don't think
Kinda
that
nice.
was necessarily something that they...
It was intentional.
Right, or it was just kind of like a happy accident, and they were like, oh, well, look, you can kind of do that too, and so they didn't, bother to change it or whatever.
Good job, Corticon.
But yeah, that made... So I'm probably going to end up buying one of those, just so I can make it into the gun shape, because I like that.
So,
All right, then.
that will do it for questions for this week. Do you have anything else to add?
No. ShopPCN.com.
ShopPCN.com. I would like to add that my very first toy review will be premiering this Saturday morning.
Oh, should we say what it is, or is it...
Actually, yeah, sure, why not? I will actually be debuting a new review show this weekend. It's called the Saturday Morning Review. It will focus on classic Saturday morning era cartoons and toys, and this week's episode will be Jazzware's Tom and Jerry.
Yay!
Yay!
Which means the news desk, which I usually pump out mid-morning, I'll save that until like lunchtime, early afternoon, so that he's got more time.
Dirt was kind
in
enough
the
to give me
morning.
his spot.
He can have that. Which actually gives me a little more time so I don't have to worry and rush as much, to get it done and uploaded. I can take my time and do it a little later, so...
Alright, that should do it for this week. If you like what you have seen here and what we do at the Pop Culture Network, please stop back and check out all of our other videos. We've got the News Desk with Dirt. We have got Beyond the Box with myself. We have got It Figures with whoever happens to be here.
we also have new column, like Nick the Toy Columnist has his.
Exactly.
He started a second column called The Spotlight, which this past week was taking a look at a animation cell with storyboard thing that he bought from the Warner Brothers store for Batman the Animated Series,
Right.
which is actually a really cool piece.
Not Mitten Box with Rob Bass.
Not Mitten Box with Rob Bass. He sent us a whole bunch of those, so that's back in the hopper. We've got Corticon toy reviews. I might be doing a toy review, one or two here in the near future. Killen is actually setting up a spot to do toy reviews at his new place, so he's got a bunch of Lego sets to pump out.
So the Pop Culture Network will start doing toy reviews again.
Yeah, one or two. Until everybody gets tired of it, and they're like, oh man, this is expensive.
Alright.
And then some comic reviews, comic podcasts, a new Comaholics. We've got another Necessary Evil to go up. Necessary Evil number 2 will be up in the next day or so, and then Necessary Evil number 3 we'll be recording this weekend.
If you have any questions that you would like to shoot our way, anything as far as input, questions for the It Figure Show, questions for any of our shows, go to jointheforums.com, sign up if you haven't already done so, and if there are any collectibles that you are possibly looking for that you don't already have, check out the ShopPCN.com store where we've got tons of stuff. Nothing new so far this week, but we do have a Deacon Frost Blade figure from Toy Biz.
And you've been looking for that. I mean, you like there have been times you jump on eBay at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're like, man, nobody's got one. We do.
Alright.
That's what we do.
So that'll about wrap it up for this week. I'm intern Rick.
I'm Scotty Dan.
See ya.
Not Steely Dan, I'm their brother.